little bit about my background is this is year number 15 for me. I have my entire career, other than this year here, has been with Galveston Independent School District. So I was an assistant principal, teacher, principal at middle school, all that. Most of my years was at Ball High School. So along those same lines, I was a product of GISD. Went all the way from kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to graduating from Ball High School in class of 2002. So when I say I bleed purple and gold, I definitely bleed purple and gold. Me being up here at Tech City, a little weird because, the rivalries back then were, I ain't gonna talk. So for me to be standing in front of you guys in black and orange, it is a great feeling, don't get me wrong, but just for me, for my sake, anytime we play ball high, whether it's basketball, volleyball, football on September 2nd, and you see me, I'm gonna be in all black. I'm not gonna have anything on whether it's ball high Tech City, because I'm gonna be clapping for both teams. I have family that plays for the Tours, so just know that that's a little bit about me. All right, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about a lot of the expectations that, for most of you guys, have not really changed. All right, if you are a Tech City, if you've been here since your first year, most of these rules have still been the same. For those that are new, maybe you know. We're gonna talk about a little expectation. I'm gonna put some of the things that I stress. Before this is over with, I'm gonna talk to you guys about two things that I love telling students all the time, right? So I don't mind what those two things are, but just kind of listen up. So the first thing I'm gonna definitely talk to you guys about is our mission and our vision, all right? So our mission, the mission for Tech City High School, is that we're gonna create a positive culture for every student and practitioner to grow and learn, right? What that means for me is that everybody sitting in this crowd right now, everybody walking around the school in their classes, all of the teachers, students, staff, everybody. Our mission here is to make sure that we are constantly growing as people. All right, do I need to use a mic so you can record that? Go ahead. I don't like using a mic.
I may have to come back later and give you a microphone.
No, I have one. I just don't like using it.
Okay. The sound at the beginning just may not be okay, but we'll live.
All right, we're gonna use a mic.
I'll fix it. Thank you.
So, again, our goal is to just make sure you guys are growing as people. And no matter what you decide to do in life, just grow and learn. Which leads to our vision, right? We're going to cultivate the next generation of leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs. In 2 years' time, you guys are going to be graduates of high school. You're going to go on to live your lives. You're going to choose what happens after this point. Our job is to make sure you are prepared for that next step. Whether it's college, university, whether you decide to go to the military, or whether you decide to go to the workforce right after high school, all right? We're gonna make sure you're ready for that as long as you are prepared to grow and learn. So our administration, again, most of these names have not changed, a couple new ones. All right, so of course your principal is Mr. Hippolyte. Ms. Williams is your dean of instruction. For your assistant principals, there's Mr. Hall. If your alpha is A through FLE, you're gonna go see him. If you are FLI through L, you're gonna see Mr. Graham. If you are M through RIT, you're gonna see me. And then of course, if you're RIV through Z, you're gonna see Ms. White. My office is upstairs, and I believe it's E200. As for most of you guys know, that's Ms. Baker's old office. So I will be in her office. If you are M through Z, if your last name is M through Z, there's a good chance that if you come to our office, you may see me. All right, I may be the one if you get a referral or you just need to talk, I'm there, right? Same thing for Ms. White. If you're A through L, there's a good chance that you'll see either Mr. Graham or Mr. Hall. Now, just because these are the names that are associated, that means we are the people that are gonna be calling you down for discipline. If we see something wrong, if you need help, or if there's something that we need to address, doesn't matter what your last name is, all right? We're gonna have a conversation with you, all right? So just know that these are your direct point of contacts, but we're all available for you. If you have any ITC classes, here's your your best contacts other than your teachers, Ms. Caldwell, who's the CT director and the CT coordinator, and then your counselor, right? So if you are Ms. Davis, if you're A through FLE, you have Ms. Davis, FLI through L, you have Ms. Michelle, M through RIT, you have Ms. Chambers, and RIV through Z, you have Ms. Owens. And then of course, definitely want to start looking into this for next year. Your college and career counselor is Ms. Joseph. Now, if at any point in time you need to have a schedule change, I know a lot of you guys have probably already started that process, but just in case, send your counselor an email. Don't just show up at their door because they're going to turn you away. Send them an email and let them know what you're looking to do, all right? Don't just show up, all right? Because I'm telling you right now, they're gonna shoot you away, all right? So make sure you send that email. Emails are up, and of course, if you don't have it, you want to take a picture, you're more than welcome to. You can always find the information on the website. So our expectations. So just a couple of things that we want to make sure you guys understand, and I'll stress on them a little bit, but we always want you guys to be prepared. Come to school every day, be prepared, having your materials, your backpacks, your pencils, notebooks, your Chromebooks, your laptops, which you're going to get today through your science class if you haven't already gotten it. Make sure you come with it. Well-groomed and dressed appropriately. We're gonna harp on dress code a little bit more in detail, but just make sure you are in dress code at all times. Attend all your classes. Get to class on time, or first thing. Make sure you're coming to school every day, because a lot of the things that we talk about today are gonna revolve around attendance, and attendance is going to be super important for every one of you guys, right? So just make sure you are in class, in school, and in class all day, every day. Active engagement in class, meaning come to class, like I said, come to class prepared, but you also want to be engaging in class, right? You may not know all the answers. You may not know what your English teacher is talking about, but ask those questions, right? Somebody next to you may have the same question and they're just afraid to ask that question. So if you don't know the answer, ask, right? That's how people learn, by asking questions. Demonstrating courtesy and respect for all students. So remember when I said that there are two things that I always love telling kids, all right? So here's that first thing. The first thing that I want to let you guys know is, as teenagers, a lot of you guys are in that mentality that, and I just don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't want anybody addressing me, don't want anybody saying anything. I get it, right? I understand. But when you're on this school grounds, right? You're on this campus, we expect you to follow these policies. If you don't want anyone telling you what to do, just do the right thing from the beginning. Wear your IDs, be in dress code, get to class on time, don't skip class. Like, all of those things are things that you know you're supposed to be doing, and if you don't want anybody addressing you, then make sure you're doing the right thing. If I say, hey, just put your ID on, put it on. I'm not looking for an argument or anything like that. All I did was actually put your ID on, and you get moved to class. But if you have your ID on in the beginning, then we don't have to worry about that, all right? If I say get to class, hey, just get to class, all right? It's real simple. There shouldn't be any conversation or argument about that. Just make sure we're doing the right thing, all right? So again, like I said, if you don't want to be addressed, do the right thing from the beginning, and we won't have any issues. Those campus and classroom rules and policies, again, we'll get into more in a deep dive in just a second, but just along with what I just said, just follow those things. And then last but not least, represent your high school with class and character in your community, right? Your last name is very important to you, all right? Most people don't like when somebody mispronounces their last name. That's important. So represent that. Represent your school, whether you're here or outside. All right, that is a reflection of you, that is a reflection of your family, and we are family, all right? So make sure that we are just acting appropriately at all times, no matter where you are. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the bell schedule. Again, for most of you guys, if you're not new to Texas City High School, this is old news to you, but if you are new, here's our bell schedule. We start school at 7:15. I'll get into more of this in just a second, but we open the doors up to let you guys in at 6:55, and we start hitting the class at 7:10. 7:15 is when we start school. Most classes are about 48 minutes apiece, with the exception of fifth period, which is lunch, because we have to give you that 30 minutes for lunch. Every passing period is about 4 minutes, so you guys have 4 minutes to get to class. So again, like I said earlier, make sure you get to class on time, and we'll get to that a little later. And then we leave school, 8th period ends at 2:50 p.m. So once 2:50 hit, go home. All right, just start leaving the building. Unless there's, something going on, like you're going to tutoring, or you got D-Hall, and we'll talk a little bit more about that more later. So, all right, Canvas. Canvas is going to be your lifeline. So, again, I mentioned earlier that you're going to be getting your laptops today if you haven't already picked it up. Canvas is where everything is going to be housed at. So make sure you understand how to access Canvas. All right, that's the first thing. Make sure you understand how to access your teacher's Canvas course. If you don't know how to turn an assignment, or if you don't know how to look at the syllabus, what the daily schedule is, make sure you ask those questions. Again, if you don't know something, that is okay, but you have to ask those questions. So understand how to utilize Canvas. So graduation plan. So typically, this is where this fifth column right here, 11th grade, this is where everyone in this room should be at right now. You should be in English 3, which, maybe that might be English 1301. You should be in your third math, which could be Algebra 2, math models, just depending on where you are with your math classes. You should be in your third science class. Your social studies class should be world geography or AP human geography, and then your elective courses, right? You should have 4 electives at this point. Notice, like freshman and sophomore, you're required to take 2 years of a foreign language. Once you get to your junior year, you're no longer required to take a foreign language unless you have, just so happen to fail, the foreign language your 9th or 10th grade year, or both, right? So this is where we should be, all right? You need 26 high school credits to graduate, all right? And we'll get into that a little bit more in just a second. 26 credits, right? And that is typically how many credits you need in each subject: for math, for science, for social studies, 4 Englishes, 2 foreign language and fine arts, PE, electives, all have to add up to 26 in order to graduate high school next year in class of 2024, right? So at any point in time, if you feel like you're behind, if you have any questions, go see your counselor. Just shoot them an email and say, hey, can you make sure I'm on the right track? I just want to make sure I'm going to graduate on time. I don't want any surprises when I get to my senior year, right? The most important thing for you guys to remember is that next year in 2024, this is your time, right? You are graduates. You're going to be a graduate of high school. Your parents probably have put up with you for 18 years of your life. Don't take away that moment from them. That is important. That is an important day for them. That is an important day for you, especially since you've done this for 12, 13 years in school. You don't want to mess that up. All right? You're almost there. You're almost at the end. So filler periods. All right, what that means by filler periods is more like early release, later arrival, right? Here's the criteria. So this is important for you guys because next year you are going to start wanting to have those early release periods, those filler periods. Here's the criteria, all right? So I'm gonna go over some important bullet points on this one. Make sure you have passed all your STAR tests. At this point, you should have taken all your STAR tests and hopefully passed them all. Algebra 1, biology, English 1, English 2, and U.S. history. Hopefully you have knocked those out, you passed them, because you've already checked one of those bullets off for next year when you want to get that filler period. If you have not passed them, for some odd reason you may have missed 1 or 2. Hopefully you haven't. But if not, you will have opportunities in December and of course April or May, depending on the test. Make sure you're on track for graduation. They're going to look at your credits from freshman year all the way up until the end of this year. Make sure you're on track, include the endorsements, because if you're not on track, they're going to have to put you on credit recovery, which we'll jump into in a second, to get you in there, right? Have no more than 10 absences. That is important because again, I'm gonna talk to you guys a lot about absences and attendance in just a second. Why that's so important to make sure you're in school and in class every day, all right? But what that means is the previous 2 semesters combined. So we're gonna look at your spring semester of this year and the current fall semester that we're in right now to look at. So you can't have more than 10 absences in those 2 semesters combined. No major discipline issues. Those are those level 3 above, meaning, you know, getting to drugs and marijuana and all that stuff. So make sure you're not anywhere in that conversation. And then, of course, having no fines. That's what that unclear obligation is. All right, credit recovery. So I mentioned credit recovery a little bit, you know, of course, with the STAR test. But credit recovery, if you fail a course, if you have a course, let's say you failed Spanish or math or something your sophomore or freshman year, you have an opportunity to take credit recovery, and that's if you have lower than a 60, all right? If you have lower than a 60, you will not be in credit recovery. You have to resit the classroom. 60 to 69, you have the option of taking credit recovery, especially during the summer, all right? So hopefully you don't have to sit in that conversation. You're not part of that. But if you are, that's a way to help you get those credits back that you may have lost. All right, so I talked about this, so I'm gonna skip over this one on that screen with the graduation credits. All right, here are the endorsements that you can get. You don't have to have all 5, maybe a combination, maybe 1. Your counselors can explain more of this in detail to you on how you get a specific endorsement and which classes you need to take in order to get STEM, business and industry, public service, arts and humanity, and our multidisciplinary. All right, so again, counselors are your best bet to have those conversations with and see what classes, see what electives you need to follow to reach those endorsements. All right, here are the different advanced courses we do offer. So COM dual credit, UT On-Ramp, University of Texas dual credit, AP courses and advanced classes like your pre-AP and your honors classes. So with the dual credit, just a quick snippet about that. Dual credit means you're getting both credit for high school and college. Of course, you have to have the class to graduate high school on time based on the graduation requirements I just showed you. But those credits also go on your college transcript. So if you are in those dual credit classes, don't mess those things up, because they can have a negative effect on your college GPA and you haven't even stepped foot on the campus yet. All right, so make sure you're doing the right thing with those classes. All right, so like I said, I'm going to talk a lot about attendance with the next few slides. All right, so you guys need to make sure that you are not missing more than 10% of the days in school. So for instance, if there are 90 days in the first semester, if you go over 9, if once you reach that 10th absence, you're going to lose credit for the course. Then you're going to have to be put on an attendance contract and things like that. We're going to talk about BOEs in a second, why that's important. So again, just to kind of summarize all that up with attendance, make sure you are getting to school every day and on time. We understand people get sick. I get it, especially over the last couple of years with COVID, flu, all that stuff. We get that, right? If you happen to be out because you're sick and you end up going to the doctor, make sure you bring the doctor's note when you come back. You have 3 days to turn that in. If you don't turn it in, then it doesn't count. Hopefully this doesn't happen to anyone, but if an immediate family member does pass away, you do get bereavement time, so just let us know. Keep us in communication on what's going on in your family. I know that's hard to talk about, but in order to protect you when we talk about the school realm, you guys have to have an open line of communication with us. The unfortunate thing is that it's not that we don't care, it's that we are governed by, a set of rules that says that if the kid is not in a chair, they don't get credit for the class. So it's not me not saying that, hey, I don't care about you being sick or someone passing away. I just have to follow rules also. All right, truancy. If you are skipping classes, whether it's on campus or off campus, that's a disciplinary action, right? And that does count as an absence for you. Even though you were on campus, but you wasn't in class, you were absent, right? So make sure you are getting to your classes. Tardiness. I showed you earlier that you have 4 minutes in between classes to get there. If you get 10 tardies, that's automatically ISS, all right? And that's any class. Like if you have 10 tardies in just first period, you're gonna get a day of ISS, right? Possible DAP if you continue that route with those tardies. So make sure you are getting to class on time. Don't want to have to send anybody DAP, especially for tardies. credit denial and reinstatement, so that's the attendance contracts. Hopefully you guys, none of you guys are on an attendance contract or will be put on an attendance contract, because that's when we talk about you have to make sure your graduation is on time, and if you failed that attendance contract, then you just push it, you're digging a hole that you're not gonna be able to get out of. All right, so 10-10 rule. So what that means, again, is I think it changed from 15-10 last year, but the premise is the same. 10 minutes before the bell rings, 10 minutes after the bell rings. So once the bell rings, you have 10 minutes before you're allowed to go to the restroom anywhere. All right, we're trying to clear the hallways, so just make sure you hang tight for 10 minutes. Don't ask your teacher to go to the restroom, because they're going to tell you no. But after that 10 minutes, you guys go, right? 10 minutes before the bell rings, you're not allowed to go, all right? We want to make sure the hallways stay clear, so get ready, but you're more than welcome to go to the restroom, in between classes and things like that. Just remember, you got 4 minutes. All right, VOE, so I just mentioned this with the attendance, same thing. Most of you guys are probably already driving, you probably already have your driver's license, or you're trying to get your driver's license, right? You're probably trying to go through driver's ed. If you miss more than 10% of the days, you are not going to be eligible to get your VOE, right? And that's per class. Like let's say you have 12 absences in the first period, right? But you only have 6 in the rest of your classes. Well, you missed 12 times in the first period. Unfortunately, you can't get your VOE because you went over the number of days. So make sure you are in the school on time and here in class every day. Now, the way we look at that is we look at it by semester. So we're in first semester. Once first semester ends in December, when we get back in January, if you want to try to request your VOE, that's the time to do it, right? You start requesting in January, and then what we look at is from August of 2022 all the way to December of 2022. As long as you are under that under that 10%, you are going to get your VOE. One thing I will say is for you guys that are going through driver's ed, if you plan on trying to get it, make sure you get your VOE first, because if you pay for your driver's ed course and you can't get a VOE, the driver's ed course will not refund you your money. All right, that is like $400 that you just wasted because you didn't try to get your VOE first. Tell your parents the same thing. That way they'll know that, okay, I need to make sure my kid can get their VOE before I have to go pay this money, all right? So do it in that order. VOE, then driver's ed. All right, so I mentioned this as far as like before and after school, so 6:55 to 7:10, you guys are in the cafeteria, the read for common area. We let you guys start going to class at 7:10. We get out of school at 2:50, so just make sure you're exiting really, really quickly, unless you end up having D-Hall. I can't go home until you guys clear the building, so I'd love to go see my kids, but we gotta get you guys out of the building, okay? Before and after school, just like it was during school, we expect those same expectations before and after school, especially at athletic events, which I believe I'm gonna get to in a few minutes. Student IDs, all right? We'll get into some expectations that are really easy to follow, right? First one, everyone is required to have an ID, right? That's a simple rule to follow. Just have your ID. If you don't have your ID, here's how that works. Like you come to school, oh crap, I forgot my ID. You have 2 options, well 3 options technically. You can call home, see if mom or dad or someone at home can bring you your ID, then you'll go to class. Second option is if you have $10, which is the replacement cost for an ID, you can buy your new ID right then and there. Or the third option is if you don't have the 10 or no one can bring you your ID, then you have to go to second, right? Now, if you lose your ID, it is $10 to replace it. So just FYI, I don't want you guys wasting $10 on an ID. Hang on to it. If after school, put it in your backpack, hang it up in your car, hang it up in mom and dad's car, just make sure you do not lose that ID, because I don't want you spending $10 that you probably don't have. You have to have your ID for the nurse, the library, breakfast and lunch, and also athletic events, which we're going to get into right now. So first thing, like I just said, you have to have your ID sit in the student section. Got to be in dress code. Don't come in, with anything inappropriate on, which we're going to talk about dress code in just a second. Please be respectful to the athletes on the court, whether they're home team or the away team, especially at the close games like that, you know, when we are in a closed area like basketball and volleyball, hey, be respectful to those guys, all right? They are out there, they're doing it for the team, so they don't want you guys to go out there being disrespectful. I can't control what those other kids do at those other schools, but I am talking to you guys, so make sure you guys are being respectful. Don't worry about them, focus on you. And then of course, cheer for your squad, cheer for TCHS. Headphone policy. And cell phone. All right, another simple rule, right? Like I told you guys earlier, I came from ball. We didn't allow cell phones at all, right? If you've been to Ball High, you would know that, right? We didn't allow it. So this is new. Me seeing you guys are able to use your phones in the hallway, in the cafeteria, all this stuff, right? So I'm getting adjusted to that. But a real simple rule to follow is one, you can use them in the hallways. But when you enter the classroom, just put it away. Your teacher shouldn't have to argue with you about putting your cell phone away. Don't use it. Just put it away. You'll have time in the hallway to check your messages, anything that comes through. But just during that 47 minutes when you are in class, give it to your teacher. Headphones. When you're in the hallway, one in, one out. Put one of your headphones in your pocket, back in the case, or if it's the wireless, just let it hang down. But one in, one out. Any failure to follow any of those rules will result in a $15 fine, and we're going to take your phone up. All right, you can't get your phone back until you pay for that $15. If you are being disruptive or just defiant about it, then it's going to result in SAC, $15 fine, confiscation, possibly going to DAP over a cell phone. Right. So again, simple rules to follow. Like I told you earlier, most of you guys don't want anybody telling you what to do. Just do the right thing the first time. All right, here's one that I don't even like to harp on, but I'm definitely going to go over it. All right, so here's the fortunate and unfortunate thing for a lot of you guys. If you're 18, you can go to the store and you can go buy these, right? Nobody can stop you. They sell them to you. You got your ID band. They sell you one, right? Anybody under 18, it's illegal for you to buy them. You can have these things at your house. Can't stop you from what you do at your home. I can only encourage you to do the right thing. But while you're on this campus, there is policy. You are not allowed to have them on this campus. If you are caught with a vape, a jewel, or e-cigarette, first offense, 2 days a second. Second, 5 days. Third time, you're going to DAP. I do not want you going to DAP for something that is so simple as keep it at home. Now, that part in red, liquid THC. Most of you guys have seen the jewels that can be refillable. Some of you guys like to put the THC in it, the liquid THC. Whether you're in school or out of school with that is an automatic felony. You are now 16. If you have one of those, you're 16, 17 years old, and you now have a felony charge on you. Back to what I originally stated. Keep that stuff at home. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. That's between you and your parents. But when I'm letting you know, make sure it doesn't come on campus. Because if we catch it, then we're going to follow the policy. All right, no ifs, ands, buts about it. All right, so if you happen to go to ISS, be in dress code, we're going to talk about dress code on the next slide. Be on time, don't want to add any additional days, no food, things like that, unless it's lunchtime. Cell phones are going to be turned in. Make sure you have your school issued device, but you're going to get your laptop in just a sec. Like I said, if you haven't already received it. No sleeping, must work on the entire time. And then of course, any violation of ISS rules is going to get you sent out. You're going to be out of school suspended, and you got to repeat the day. So you might as well go ahead and just do it right the first time. All right, dress code. Dress code is real easy. All right, so first bullet, I need to explain that. All right, because a lot, I don't want anybody getting confused. So hoodies are a lot, right? You can have hoodies. Not saying you can't bring a hoodie to school, right? It's a jacket. We get that. Just don't have the hood on top of your head. All right, take the hood off. All right, take that hood off. All right, just leave it off. Because again, that goes back to the whole simple fact that you don't want me addressing you, but if you do the right thing, I won't have to address you, right? And again, like I said, I'm not saying you cannot have your hoodie, just don't wear it. Don't wear the hood part. Now, most of you guys are probably thinking, well, it don't matter, I'm gonna have my hoodie on. If I have to address you more than once, I'm gonna ask you for it. Cool. You're probably gonna say, no, I'm not giving you my honey. Okay, that's okay. I'm not the type of person that's gonna argue with you. We just gonna have a conversation about it. I'm gonna follow the policy, we're gonna move on, right? But just do the right thing. Holes in the jeans. We get holes, right? You probably can't go to a store nowadays without finding holes in your jeans. Here's what we ask. Anything below, if you have a hole, anything below your knee, fine. We're not gonna address those. If you have a hole above your knee, just make sure you have something on under it to cover it up. No skin is to be showing in your diet, right? So just cover those holes up. That's all we ask. Hats, different story than hoodies. You just not allowed to have hats in the building, right? If you have a hat, wear it at school, leave it in your car, put it in your backpack, just don't put them on, right? Logos are things, anything that is negative in nature, whether it's promoting sex, drugs, violence, all that stuff, you're not allowed to wear, right? I want to see you guys, if somebody smoking marijuana or marijuana leaf on your shirt, none of this cookie stuff, nobody pointing guns at each other, all that stuff, right? Leave that stuff at home, that is not school appropriate. Leggings, can't wear leggings unless you got like a long dress on, you happen to have the leggings on under it, fine, or if they're under your pants, but you just can't wear leggings with like your shirt, right? I know it's out there with the crop tops, ladies more specifically to you, we don't want to see your belly button rings, don't want to see it, just make sure you have a shirt on to cover that up. And none of these, my pants are supposed to be up here, but my shirt is like this. If it's out of dress code, I'm gonna say something to you, so just make sure you're doing the right thing. Then of course, tattoos, make sure your tattoos are covered up, especially those negative ones, right? I'm not gonna question if you have a tattoo, just cover it up. Our laptops, like I said, I'm not gonna get too into detail because you're gonna get your laptop in just a second. All right, prom. Most of you guys are probably gonna end up wanting to go to prom either this year or next year. Just make sure you follow these criteria. Again, there goes attendance again, so make sure you follow that 90% rule. No, don't miss too many days. Gotta be in good standing with grades, credits, and discipline. No fines. And if you are inviting guests for non-CCI due, that's more for the seniors, but you just gotta have a guest approval. Parking. So I talked a little bit about the VOE, now I'm gonna jump into parking for those who are already driving. If you have a car and you're driving to school, parking, first thing, make sure you get a parking permit. Second thing is make sure you're parking in your spot. If you are parking in someone else's spot, you're gonna get a parking tag with your number. Make sure you're parking in that spot. If somebody's parking in your spot, let us know so we can take care of that. If you follow, if you break any of the rules, your car, can be towed, so just make sure you're following that. Some of the common sense things, don't park in a fire lane. That's illegal anywhere you park. It's a fire lane, don't park there. Your car, that's a quick way to get your car towed. Stop double parking. I know some of you guys got nice cars, probably a lot better than mine. So make sure you're not parking on the line. Don't be speeding in the parking lot. We don't want you getting into an accident. You or the person that may be involved in the accident with you. So just make sure you are driving slow, 5 miles an hour in the parking lot, find your parking spot, park, get on into school. All right, so let me switch over to this. All right, so go ahead and pull out your phones, sign up for the Remind, so that way you can get all your messages and things like that. I want to, before I finish up, so remember I told you guys there was two things. The first one was making sure that you don't want somebody to address you, just do the right thing. Here's the second thing. So one of my favorite things to tell kids is that everybody in this room has a choice. All right. You can make choices in your life, right? You will make all the choices in the world, especially as you get older, you're gonna make a lot of choices, but you're gonna be making a lot here in school. You are free to make your choices. You're free to choose. But I'm letting you know right now, if you are making negative choices, you are not free from the consequences. So again, make your choice. Hopefully it's the right choice. But remember, you are not free